Sagittarius 19. Pelicans moving their habitat. The pelican is a very good example of an animal that sacrifices itself in order that its children's future, its offspring's future, can be maintained and assured. And we're inclined in that direction somewhat. I've seen that happen often, where parents do sacrifice their own best interests in order that their children's future is taken care of. It's not unusual, but it is by no means guaranteed. But it is a requirement. It is something that we do need to do in order to take care of our larger responsibilities. It is true, of course, that we have responsibility to ourselves, for ourselves. We do need to be a little bit selfish sometimes, or at least self-gratifying, self-serving at times. And yet, if we bring children into the world, a part of our own freedom has been invested in the children, a significant part. We're saying, I am no longer free as a single person. I am responsible. I am involved as a parent. And that is a very major responsibility in life. It's huge. You're bringing another life into this world, which is a dangerous place. And you have to take responsibility for having done that, and to assure the child has a reasonable chance of survival, at least, but surely more enjoyment of its future. And of course, this is a very poignant message during these times. Climate change is upon us. We're not going to see the back of it, not for generations to come. The implications of the last 100 years or so, industrial acceleration to the point of real overkill, this has cost our species the freedom that we used to have to just cruise around doing whatever we feel like doing, rather more than nowadays. Nowadays we are obliged to pick up the bill, pick up the tab for climate change. We've done some very damaging things to our climate, and we have to actually make sure that our children and their children and so on for generations to come do not suffer the consequences of what we have done or failed to do. Now, of course, this sounds horrible and terrible and so on and so forth, but most generations suffer something of this consequence. They go to war. They suffer disease or starvation. It's normal. Life is harsh. Not just hard, it's harsh. Not always by any means, but sometimes. And usually each of us has that to deal with, harshness. It's just impossible really to cope, and yet we do cope. And so here we have a situation where we're talking about a very difficult situation that we have to deal with climate change. We don't know where our food is going to come from necessarily in the future. We don't know where we're going to be able to live in the future. What was once safe and predictable has become very definitely not anymore. Perhaps we're okay, maybe, but a lot of people are not. The majority of people will find that then they become deeply inconvenienced at the very minimum, possibly subject to life-threatening dangers rather more than they ever dreamed was possible. In my lifetime, let alone the lifetime of the young people around today. So we're in a dark period in human history. It's just beginning. And we have to cope with this in a way where the message is not about us. It's not about our own ability to cope. We are going to have to learn that one. That's a big challenge of this period. We also are having to find some way to bring children into a better world. They will not do that unless they are loved. it's just too harsh to cope without a softer side. And love will do that. We have to make sure that they feel cared for, heard, understood, taken care of. And this we do by self-sacrifice. We give up some of our own comforts to guard the children's future. So to show the love that we feel for our children does not take the form of giving them pizza and Coke. That's not it. That's perhaps the opposite. They like pizza and Coke. They want pizza and Coke. But giving it to them is actually a demonstration of our lack of love. It's not okay to poison your children. It isn't. What is okay is to feed your children with something that can take them through everything that comes up in life. You teach them qualities, responsibility, integrity, foresight. You teach them how to cope with being an adult. And you won't be able to do that unless you've developed those qualities yourself. So each of us has to actually think, in this moment, am I being of my highest integrity? What I'm doing now, what's the effect of that? Who's going to pick up the tab for that? And a teaching I hear within the Native American tradition of wisdom is that the wise person considers the implications of their actions for 7 generations to come. So it's not only our children's benefit or our children's children, it's on and on and on and on and on. How will the species evolve and develop in a sense which is beautiful and safe and wholesome because of what we're doing now? Everything we do, whether it's buying this from the supermarket or throwing that away in the rubbish bin or saying these words to somebody or allowing yourself to have these feelings in response to an outer event, how does that serve generations to come? We have to learn how to be that way, to train ourselves to think differently, to think like the pelican, to put aside our own selfishness in order to protect the possibility that our children's children will have wholesome quality of life.